like dynasty draft process coming up. So for rookie drafts, um, how anything that's like on your mind about dynasty drafts coming up, value of these first round picks. Is there somebody out there that you see undervalued, overvalued? Anything sticking out to you?
Yes. So the discourse on JSN,
Okay.
Jackson Smith Najigba, I believe is how it's pronounced, um, has kind of soured, and I know it's because he didn't really play this year.
Hmm.
Um, but we were looking at him with Olave and Wilson and being like, he's so clearly better than both of them. Like it's not even
Hmm.
close, and he's younger. He's gonna be way, way, way better. He didn't do anything this year, but I feel like he should at worst be the wide receiver too. Because Quentin Johnson, he is a true NFA. I know we'll talk about him, but I and like, I mean, like I'm saying, take like some of this with a grain of salt, because I haven't dove headfirst in, but I think it should be the JSN and Quentin Johnston 1-2, and Addison in a tier himself at third. I don't think he's quite in the same tier, and he gets open. He looks great. He's a little bit small, but he just doesn't. I mean, I don't know. He's really, really, really good. I believe he's like Jordan Addison. He is the wide receiver three, but I think Jason is a little bit like undervalued because I've seen people trying to push him down past like even Addison, and like further, and I'm like no, no, no. Like this guy was better than Olave and Wilson at this point, who are near consensus top 10 dynasty assets at receiver at this point. So um, those are just my like overarching thoughts as we move past running backs into receivers.
I've heard the similar things, and I think that in this situation, it's kind of like Jamar Chase. Like he didn't play ball for a year and then came into the NFL and was good to go, and that'll probably happen with JSN too. I mean, talent wins out, especially when it comes to. I mean, when it comes to the NFL, guys like that are going to rise to the occasion too, right? When JSN finally gets to put on an NFL jersey, that's going to mean something to him, and he's going to be ready to ball. I think that matters. So what we can do is just take the discount on the player that we get based on recency bias, where you know analysts and people who are making rankings are going to have the firepower in Addison, for example, is to say he just played, he just put up these numbers. It's an unknown factor in Njigba's production if he didn't play this year. So therefore, I'm allowed to put him lower in my model and
Mm-hmm.
put Addison over him because of this recent trend or this recency bias. And we just get to reap the rewards if you're, drafting a little bit later this year. We'll get a player like Justin Jefferson went what, like sixth or seventh in most rookie drafts of his
Which is
this
crazy to
season,
think about now. Yeah.
and everybody would have taken him 101.
Mm-hmm. People took Jalen Rager over Justin Jefferson.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, they did.
That being said, and I didn't take Jalen Rager, but I might have been one of them at the time. Very hard to say. That being said, let's move on to receiver, shall we? We already covered a couple guys: Hyatt, briefly Johnston, Addison, JSN. Um, I mean, I'll let you talk about Johnston. Well, like let's get started with my. I mean, that being said about JSN, I I would take Johnston wide receiver one at this point in time. Um, what are your thoughts on the notorious NFA, as you say?
I mean, he's just all right. So he's athletic. He good route runner, good hands, aggressive with the ball in his hands. He's kind of, and he's already like, I just think he's NFL ready. He's does all the things that NFL receivers need to do, and he's shown to be extremely versatile. The same way that we talked about Traylon Burks coming out of last year's draft and why he was wide receiver one in that class because of the versatility, because of the speed, because of the strength. and Johnson has all of those things and even better hands and even better route running. He's not going to be. I think he would be like where Burks is more of a Debo Samuel mold. I think Johnson is closer to a Jamar Chase mold, where he can
Mm-hmm.
do everything as well as take the jet sweeps. So Johnson just to me looks like he looks like the next in line or the next in line for elite NFL talents.
Excited for that kid. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, it's we can't really expect any receiver this year to get top 10 draft capital, but if anybody would get top 10 draft capital, I would say it'd be him. I could see some teams falling in love with him. Him going
hmm
7, 8, 9, 10. Back into that top 10. I mean, he's just a stud. Um, yeah, I mean, there isn't really much else to say until we get some more combine numbers and draft capital. But
hmm
do you have any standout receivers that you're just dying to talk about? Or
Downs,
mm-hmm,
Downs, dude, he looks so awesome. I had Steve Smith, Amon Ra are my comps for him. Like
mm-hmm,
just watching him play reminded me a lot of Steve Smith actually, just like small but super strong, and he could still jump fast. Um, I mean, imagine like he looks like Marquise Brown with like 20 more pounds on him. It's sick. Like
scary, yeah.
he's like an interesting talent because of the dynamic in his physicality.
Mm,
It's not your quintessential tall, lanky wide receiver. It's something different. Um, Almost like a running back out there playing wide receiver. So I don't
mm-hmm,
know like how he would fit into the NFL, but I mean Steve Smith did it, so it's certainly possible. Um, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. He's one to watch for sure. I think his tape just kind of popped to me with
mm-hmm,
the strength that he played with, jumping up, not only jumping up and high pointing the ball, but yards after contact and running through guys.
mm-hmm. I think Downs is gonna get more draft capital than Parker Washington, and I have a whole video about Parker Washington coming up, but he's one of my favorites. He's one of those uh, looks like a running back playing receiver, but he also has pretty crazy hands, and he has good contested catch ability. Um, I mean, I'm really 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 excited about him. I think he's gonna
Okay.
weigh in probably 215 plus. Um,
Dang.
big, yeah, big stout. Um, I mean, he's just a. I like him a lot. I don't see him getting maybe first round draft capital like down probably good, but maybe maybe day two rather if he can sink there. Um, but Zay Flowers, he's really 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 rail thin, but he's been getting some. I believe he's a sleeper, but he's been getting some late hype, sneaking into people's top sixes, top fives.
Really?
Yeah, I I mean I've been on Dynasty Twitter. I'd say he's gotten more hype than most receivers.
Hmm.
I don't know. I only like I have a lot of the same people like I follow as you because it'll say like six number like this and I'm like like interesting and I feel like I've seen Zay Flowers tweets like I don't know maybe that
Okay.
you've like maybe you haven't liked who knows but he seems to be like someone that could be a riser. um I don't know. Rashid Rice too. I've seen some hype with him. uh I don't know. You got any more
Rasheed
thoughts on the
Rice.
receivers?
Yeah, I've watched Rice's tape, and I wrote Mike Williams. Like he reminded me of Mike Williams, just super strong. He wasn't making any cuts, wasn't turning anybody around with his routes, but he was high pointing everything over everybody, and just like ripping the ball away from people and running through them to score touchdowns. So just like super big and strong. Um, I don't think he could be an X for somebody, but um, it'll be interesting to see what kind of quarterback he plays with.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mims Jr. Maybe I'm just like sour on these Oklahoma guys because they just like aren't that they weren't standing out to me at all. Um, but for whatever reason, he has a pretty good scouting grade, and you know, he went to a pretty good school, so he might get some good capital and maybe land on a good team. But Mims wasn't very inspiring to me. And then Hutchinson, though. Hutchinson, I did like, even though he does go to a bit of a smaller school. I liked his game. He's a bigger dude, similar to Mike Williams, but he had more of a T Higgins game style, in my opinion. A little shiftier. But he was like, it was almost like having a power forward out there, you know. You
Yeah.
know, big and strong, but also agile. He could do something depending on see what kind of like pro day he has. But I liked where he's starting at with that tape there.
He feels like one of those guys that could make those 50-50 balls, those 80-20 balls, as they say.
For sure. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
6'3". I mean, it's a good start for sure.
For sure. Well, I mean, I don't have too many more thoughts on receiver. Do you want to go to tight end or quarterback or?
Now let's save this for the next time. Let's end on a Super Bowl take. You got any